Hi, welcome to the discussion of scheduling and preparation plan for the CAT 2018 for the last 3 months. That means for the month of September, October and November 2018. We will divide this discussion into 3 parts. First one is doing the basic homework or understanding yourself before you design the preparation plan. Second one is the preparation plan of each section, that is verbal ability, reading comprehension, DILR and then Quant. And the last one is the understanding the different scores that you can expect 12 weeks before CAT, 6 weeks before CAT and 3 weeks before CAT, or the possible jump in your scores that you should be targeting in the last 3 months. We'll first start with what is the homework required to be done before starting our preparation plan. So by August, I'm assuming that you would have appeared for at least 4 to 5 online mocks, 1 or 2 paper based exams in case you're looking at an exam like IIFT. And on that basis, you will have sufficient meat to understand where exactly you are going wrong, what is the current status of your performance, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and hence we will have to first do the analysis of the mocks that you've appeared so far. Pick up the best performing mock, pick up the worst performing mock and try to identify where exactly is the gap, what are the areas of improvement, what is your strength, and prepare a list of section wise list of all the concepts, all the areas that you have to improve upon in the next 3 months. So once you have this list prepared, additionally what you will have to do is divide these areas of improvement or the concepts that you have to work upon into different weeks in which you will be working upon it. So assuming you have 12 weeks to work upon, so you can have a preparation plan for next 12 weeks divided into 3 months, that is September, October and November. Now let us look at the section wise and overall preparation plan. First of all, we'll go for verbal ability and reading comprehension section. What you should be focusing in the month of September is practicing the reading comprehension at least 4 to 5 passages at a stretch, or maybe stretching yourself to 40 to 45 minutes. When we look at the pattern of last 2 years, that is 16 and 17, we have seen that there are 5 RCs given to you, 2 RCs of 3 question each and 3 RCs of 6 question each. In all, 24 question out of 34 question, that is more than 2/3 of the entire paper, and hence in that case we should also be looking at stretching ourselves for at least 2/3 of the section time limit that we have, that is at least 40 minutes, so that we should be in position to attempt all the 5 RCs on the day of exam. So in the month of September, focus should be to stretch in RCs for 40-45 minutes in the form of sectional test, or in the form of, it may be in the form of online, or it can be paper based test, and stretching yourself to 4 or 5 good quality RCs at a time continuously. This will help you strengthen your stamina for the day of CAT, where you would be attacking 5 RCs. Next would be to brushing up on the concepts of the other standard questions that you can expect, and you have been seeing that in last couple of years of CAT, that is logical discontinuity, passage summaries and parajumbles. Here parajumbles have been in the form of non-MCQ questions, and hence cracking or establishing the link between different questions and getting the exact arrangement is very important, and hence the conventional approach of parajumble will not work here. You will have to start working on the right approach of parajumbles, establishing the entire link of all the 5 sentences which are given to you in the question. Next is to work upon the other areas which may or may not be asked, and if you look at last 2 years paper, something like critical reasoning has not been asked directly, but then there is no fixed pattern, or we cannot predict that it may not be asked this year as well. Hence we cannot completely ignore these areas. So we'll have to spend at least some portion of time in working on areas like critical reasoning, word usage and questions on the concepts of grammar. Now because these 3 will be important for other exams, so simultaneously immediately after CAT you will be looking at IIFT, then there will be SNAP, there will be ZAT. So you cannot completely ignore all these areas in this 3 months. You will have to dedicate some amount of time for all these questions. For the month of October 2018, you will have to expose yourself to tougher questions in verbal ability. This can be done with the help of writing sectional test, focus sectional test, and getting fully into the mock CATs. because mock CATs will have first section is verbal ability. You will have to ensure that you now getting exposed to some good quality questions in all the subsections of verbal ability, that is RC, logical continuity, discontinuity, passage summaries as well as parajumbles. Next is, after being exposed to tougher question, you will have to start building on your strategy and on how exactly will you attack this particular section on the day of CAT. And for that you need to do couple of experiments. Try to start sometimes with say reading comprehension, start sometimes with say parajumbles or logical continuity based questions or passage summary based question. Try to experiment a bit so that you come to know that okay, where exactly does your strength lie, or how exactly are you able to maximize your score, and then you establish your final strategy which you will adopt in the month of November. Next, that is November 2018, you have to get fully into writing mock CATs and ensure that you do not get into anything random material or random content at this point of time. So get your strategy in place, try to adopt that, put that strategy into practice, ensure that you are getting a consistent score and gradually improving in each mock, ensure that you are getting your accuracy in place, and simultaneously you have to keep revising your performance of the previous mocks or the section test that you are simultaneously taking. Ensure that in the month of November it is not about the quantum of questions that you practice, it is about the quality of question that you practice, and ensure that you are discussing each mistake in detail with your mentor or with your friends whomsoever you look up to. Additionally, you can look out for some good quality reading material by scouting for some specific reading content. It may be smaller in quantity, or it may be very specific, something like technical blogs, management blogs, or articles on abstract topics like environment, wildlife. Okay, and this will give you an exposure to different variety of content in a shorter possible time. At this point of time, you cannot afford to go through a completely new type of a book or a new type of content which on the basis of a novel. So but you will be able to sustain a smaller article, say maybe 3 pages, 5 pages kind of an article on any abstract topic. This will give you familiarity with different varieties that can possibly be asked on the day of exam. Next is data interpretation and logical reasoning section, the most feared, the most dreaded one if we go by the last 2 to 3 years of CAT pattern. Now here we will have to understand that we will have to go stage by stage. So in the month of September, the focus should be to get a grip over the standard sets, both in terms of LR and DI. So when you look at LR, you will have to get a grip over the arrangement sets. It can be a 4x4 or 5x5 arrangement sets. It can be sets based on conditional arrangements, wherein some set of instruction is given to you in the question and some set of instruction is given in the direction. So picking up such sets. In the case of DI, also picking up the standard sets, that is sets based on games, sets based on mixed graphs, and certain new age DI which you have been seeing in last 2 to 3 years of your CAT. So exposing yourself to all these varieties and getting a grip over different subsections or subtype of questions will ensure that your score reaches a particular point. It can be 80, it can be 90 percentile, it can be 95 percentile, whatever may be a junction or your target that you have set for yourself in the month of September. You should try to ensure that you are reaching that target at any cost. You do not try to get directly to 26, 27 net correct, or maybe say 99 percentile at this point of time, but you will have to ensure that your scores could not go down. You reaching at a particular stage in the month of September. Additionally, you will have to ensure that you get acquainted to using the online calculator by now. In the month of September, it is very essential to identify which sets will require a use of online calculator, how exactly you should exploit it to your benefit, and where exactly should you not use online calculator. This is very important point, and September is the month where you will have to take a call and practice accordingly. Next, in the month of October, this is a time when you will have to get fully into writing mock CATs and sectional tests for DI and LR section. So DI and LR section will be your second section in the sequence. So you will have to ensure that you have the sufficient stamina to be positive and remain focused for this section, because you will be exposed to good quality questions. Secondly, you will have to ensure that you be tough on yourself, and for that you will have to expose yourself to some interesting sets, some tougher sets, and not run after the quantity of questions. So again, the focus should be on quality of question, and the focus should be on discussion of each set with your mentor, with your friends, with your faculty, so that you understand the logic behind each question. At this point of time, the focus should not be to run after anything and everything that comes across in front of you. Additionally, we should not forget that you should also start building your strategy or your approach for this particular section. The students who have maintained their cool and who have been able to get right strategy on the day of exam have been able to sustain the tough DILR section, be it year 2015 or 2016 or even 2017. So managing the right set of attempts, right type of questions, and maintaining high accuracy is the key, and this is what you should try to experiment and try to develop in the month of October 2018. Next, that is November 2018, the basic approach in this particular section should be to understand what could possibly go wrong. So when we look at the previous year's experiences of different students, there have been students who made some silly mistakes or mistakes by overspending time in a set which didn't deserve, which was really tough, could have been avoided, and there were easy sets which were missed out. So the approach in the month of November should be to ensure that things do not go wrong. If it doesn't go right, if it doesn't work in your favor, at least it should not work against you. And for that, you will have to regulate yourself as far as time taken per set is concerned. So when we divide the entire section into sets, we have 8 sets of 4 questions each, if we go by the pattern of last few years, and which is required to be answered in 1 hour. So on an average, when we look at the best percentilers, they have been attempting somewhere between 24 to 28 questions. So, or maybe say 6 sets. So 6 sets and 60 minutes. So that means we have approximately 10 minutes per set. So at this point of time, maybe in the month of November, if you are not really well prepared also, you should be looking at say maybe 5 sets or 12 minutes per set. So regulating yourself to somewhere between 8, 9 or maybe 10 minutes or at max 12 minutes depending on the level of difficulty per set will help you a lot in moving out of the set at the right time, because that will be something which will be essential. So even if the paper is tough, if you are able to move out at the right time, you will be able to select the right sets and get those sets in place, and with high accuracy you will still manage to put up a decent percentile on the day of exam. The second thing that you should do in the month of November is revisiting all the mocks and the section test or the sets that you have practiced so far. In other language, we can also call it consolidation. Please understand that as far as variety is concerned, you can expect some newer variety of questions. But when you have consolidated all the sets that you have practiced so far, you know the logic, you know the approach of all these sets, you will be quite mature in your approach towards attempting a newer variety of sets. So that is what is important on the day of exam. So please ensure that you consolidate all the approaches, all the logic, all the reasons, all the questions or the sets that you have practiced so far in all the mocks that you have attempted in the month of August, September and October. And if you are able to list down the mistakes that you made in the previous exam, or the right approach, or the best approach towards solving for different varieties of question, you will be in much better position to attack this section on the day of exam. Next is quantitative ability section, which will be your third section in the exam. In the month of September, we should be focusing on consolidating all our performance of mocks that you have appeared so far, and all the chapters that we have practiced so far. So if you have been exposed to say 25 to 27 different chapters, try to ensure that you consolidate your learnings from each chapter, try to identify your strengths, your weaknesses, or you can classify these chapters into different categories. The categories can be chapters where you are getting 100% accuracy, the chapters where you are getting somewhere around 90-95% accuracy, and the chapters where you are getting somewhere around 75 to 80% accuracy. Or maybe the concepts which you are still not familiar with, you are taking too long to answer, or the concepts where you need concept discussion or theory discussion with your faculties. So if you can identify, if you can simply classify all of them into proper table, you will know that okay, this is what I am supposed to do in the month of September, and this is what I am supposed to do in the month of October and November respectively. So getting a grip over all the concepts where you are still weak is important in the month of September. You will have to focus on revising those concepts, practicing those chapters, and practicing questions which are at this point of time taking more time than required. Focus for the month of October should be to build and right approach towards this section. Generally what happens is that because this section being the last one, there is a lot of fatigueness that comes along, so students are not able to concentrate or focus, or sometimes not even to maximize their performance in this section. So one thing of course you need to develop is to remain focused and have the required stamina till this section. Second of course is setting the right approach. So attacking the sets of question or the types of question that you are comfortable with. Generally students divide the questions into the zones like algebra, arithmetic, higher arithmetic, higher algebra, geometry, mensuration, or maybe mixed application based questions. Or there can be another way that you identify the questions, maybe the direct questions or the word problem based questions. Whatever approach that you have been taking so far, you can continue with that. And after doing that classification, you have to identify that okay, these are my strengths, I need to capitalize on my strengths first. My round 1 attempt should be these set of questions or questions from so and so chapters. Round 2 will be questions from so and so chapters, and round 3 will be questions which are left now. So this will ensure that you are clearing this section in different stages. So clearing 80-85 percentile in the first round, maybe say 30-35 minutes. Clearing second round, reaching 90-95 percentile, and then clearing the third round and cracking the barrier of 99 percentile. Additionally, exposing yourself to tougher varieties of question, especially in the areas where you are really comfortable with, will be very essential in the month of October. So please ensure that you have all the level of difficulty being exposed to, and at the same time you are standardizing your approach after doing whatever experiments that you want to do in this month. So by the end of this month, you should have the right approach in place that you will execute in the month of November. In the month of November 2018, one and the most important thing that you will have to do for quant section is to avoid any alien content. Please do not bother yourself with 1 or 2 questions which may be extremely difficult, extremely tough, or maybe something of an alien nature, which the possibility of which is very negligible to be asked in CAT. Now, if such question starts bothering you, you will not be able to put your best foot forward and capitalize on whatever you have done so far in your preparation. So avoiding such thing is very important, ignoring such questions is very important. Secondly, rationalizing your approach. So by now I'm sure would have appeared for at least 10 to 15 mocks, and you should be in position to, you would have got exposed to all the varieties of questions and the level of difficulty. So by now you have your approach in place. So do not experiment in the month of November, try to rationalize your approach. Third thing that you will have to do is consolidating all the mistakes that you have done in the past 15-16 mocks that you have appeared for so far. And if you can ensure that you are not going to repeat those mistakes in the month of November, your scores will definitely go high, and from here till the day of exam. Now let us look at the general approach for 3 different months, that is September, October and November, that you can take in order to prepare yourself in the better way for CAT 2018. The first one, that is month of September. This is the month where you will have to expose yourself to XCAT questions. Generally, a lot of students try to jump into XCAT in the month of June, July itself, but that's not an advisable approach. In case you have done it, it's okay. You can still go back and look at the XCAT question, because by now you have some strategies in place and you will be able to understand the expectation of CAT really well. If you get it bit too early, probably you will not understand the expectation, and if you do it bit too late, that is in the month of October or November, probably by that now you have missed the bus to get a grip over something that you are not really good with. So September is the best time to solve XCAT question. Secondly, this is the month where you will get couple of public holidays, so you will have to stretch yourself for longer hours in this month, so that you develop the required stamina and focus for writing CAT for 3 hours. So this is possibly the longest exam as far as the CAT and allied exam is concerned. So 3 hours, 1 hour per section. A lot of students are not able to cope up with right concentration level for 3 hours. That is why they falter probably in second section or somewhere in third section. So, you will have to ensure that you have the stamina, and utilizing these holidays will be the best thing to do. Additionally, I would advise that you should be writing at least 5 to 6 mocks in the month of September. That may include mock NMAT also, because a lot of students would be appearing for NMAT in the month of October, and hence practicing couple of NMAT and practicing couple of NMAT specific questions in the month of September should not be avoided. And additionally, this is the month where you will have to start working for GK for IFT sections. For all those who are applying for IFT, GK is the additional section that you have probably not focused on so far. So, September is the right month when if you can begin, you will be at a very good stage by the time IFT arrives. Next, that is October 2018. The focus should be on analyzing the performance of each mock. I am expecting you to write at least 10 to 15 mocks in this month, and that again will include couple of additional non-CAT exam, that is NMAT or maybe IFT. So, at least 10 to 15 mocks, and the focus should be to analyze in depth, in detail of your performance of each of in each of these mocks. Do not get into unnecessary practice of higher quantity of question, but rather get into understanding of what are the mistakes that you are making at this point of time, because October is the last month where you can get a good control over your mistakes. If you miss this bus by November, a lot of students will get demotivated, they might quit, they might give up that okay, by now there is no chance to correct or improvise. So, October is a wonderful opportunity for everybody to get a grip over their mistakes, and hence focus on analysis. Get into the discussion mode of each set, get into the right logic, what was the reason, get in depth of a passage, or maybe a set in DI, or maybe a set questions in quantitative ability section. Additionally, try to practice couple of sectional tests, at least 4 to 5 section tests, at least for the section where you need to improve a lot. So, writing 4 to 5 section tests will help you get a grip over the areas of improvement and stabilize your score in the month of October. Additionally, you should look at setting up the number of attempts as a target for this month. That is, by October you should have a particular number in mind depending on what percentile you are expecting, what is your target, what is your aspiration. Depending on that, you should set a particular number for each section, and at the same time setting up the accuracy rate, which definitely should be as close to 100% as possible in the month of October. And at the same time, you should by now start keeping a tab on the last dates of the applications of various colleges. By now, the majority of the exam dates and the application dates are out. So, please ensure you do not miss out on any of the college or any application deadlines. November 2018, the final month where you would be writing CAT, you should be looking at practicing at least 10 to 12 mocks again. Additionally, you may look at couple of other mocks, that is mock IFT, mock NMAT, and that should be apart from the mock CAT numbers that I just suggested. Also, apart from writing the mocks, your focus should be on getting the deeper analysis, analysis of each question, analysis of each set and each section in depth, and having a right kind of conversation, right kind of doubt discussion with your faculties will help you improvise your score. Here, you should be executing the strategies that you build over the previous 2 months, that is September and October, and ensure that your scores do not dip below a particular level in worst case. So, if the paper is tough, it should be it will be tough for majority of the students, and in such a case you should not come across a dip in your percentile score. So, maybe your scores may dip, but percentile should not get dip, and that is completely dependent on the approach that you take. And simply the approach can be not missing out on the easier ones. Now, if the exam is tough and if there are say half of the questions are tough, you should not worry if you are missing out on any of the questions from these tough questions, but you should definitely worry if you are missing out on easier questions. So, in the month of November, you will have to ensure that if there are say 20 easy questions in a particular set, you are not missing out on any of these 20 questions. You are attacking these 20 questions and getting them correct. If you can do that, your scores will stabilize and it will gradually improvise by each mock. Now the third part of discussion is to identify the targeted scores or net correct questions that you should be looking at in these timelines, so that is September, October and November. So I have divided this into three parts, that is 10 to 12 weeks to CAT, 4 to 6 weeks to CAT and 1 to 2 weeks to CAT. And I have identified that it is very much possible to get these leaps or growth in your performance. And please remember that your journey of preparation is worthwhile as long as you are chasing something. If you are not chasing something, if you are not having a target in mind, the journey or the preparation or the efforts that you are putting in will not be worth. You will not be able to cherish this, because you will not get the desired output, even though you might be sitting at a correct or good potential. So let us look at these numbers. So 10 to 12 weeks before CAT, when you look at quantitative ability as a section, when you look at verbal ability, you look at DI. So these are the expected scores that I have listed in the table. Then moving on to the next level, that is 4 to 6 weeks. So somewhere between mid October to end of October, you should be looking at these numbers. And last 1 to 2 weeks, that is by mid November, you should be looking at these numbers. And if you can achieve these numbers and stabilize your scores, I am sure you will get the desired output of the effort that you have made so far. I hope this video was helpful to you in making a preparation plan for your CAT 2018. We will be coming up with more such videos in run up to CAT 2018. So keep watching this space for more information. In case you have any query, you can put it in the comment section. Wishing you all the best for CAT 2018.